Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast. This evening, we have a very special episode focused on the streaming wars, which have been heating up as of late, particularly due to the state of the world at the current moment. We shall dig more into this later, but right now, I would like to just introduce the panel. So let's begin with our guest co-host from the group. Jacob, why don't you introduce yourself, my friend?
Hello, I am Jacob Crable. I reside in Rockford, Michigan, and I am a film critic for my local newspaper, the Rockford Squire. Although I recently probably submitted my last review for that newspaper because for reasons that Kiona is going to go into later.
Okay. All right, and Josh, you are back with us once again.
Hello. This time it is just me. Crystal was feeling a bit under the weather today, so she won't be joining.
Okay. All right, no problem. Hope she feels better, man.
Yeah, me too.
All right, guys, so let's really quickly, let's mention the elephant in the room, which is, of course, the current pandemic that grips the world right now. It's COVID-19, or the novel coronavirus. We know that it has spread throughout the entire world, and we're faced with some really unprecedented circumstances in these crazy times. Josh, you actually wrote a new article, really well stated, by the way, about the pandemic, and I would urge everybody that's listening to this podcast, all 8 or 9 of you, to please go to renegadepopculture.com and read it. Hopefully we have more than 8 or 9 of you. So Josh, do you have any thoughts, or do you want to just kind of go over what you wrote about it?
Basically, I just, with the whole panic going on with the coronavirus and everything, and especially how it's starting to hit my town, I felt like I needed to write something just to kind of hopefully alleviate or at least like quell some fears that people might be having lately. And it was basically therapy for me that I projected onto everybody else. But it was also just a small call for creativity, because although things seem really, really dire, that doesn't mean that we can just give into the hopelessness of the situation.
Exactly.
Right.
One thing I didn't get to mention in the article that I wrote that I really wanted to, at least in some way, was that, people around the world in worse, almost a completely more insane situations than we're in right now, although from the way things seem, it might start to get that way. People in Italy who are on lockdown, they're rejoicing by singing and having raves and stuff through their windows, just so that way people can feel happy.
Window raves?
Window raves.
Window raves.
Raves.
Sweeping the nation.
So
oh my gosh.
It's just one of those to, for the love of all that is good and pure, please create. I'll repeat what I wrote in my article. If you have that book that you've wanted to write, but you've never had the time, you know what? Now's the time. If you have that story or screenplay or whatever that you've wanted to write, now's the time. If you have that instrument that's gathering dust in your closet, or you have a song that you've had in your head and you haven't been able to get it out, now's the time. If you have a painting that you've had in your head that you've never been able to properly devote like resources to, if you've got them, now's the time. Like Stan Lee said, entertainment is what keeps us from going off the deep end. So, and it isn't even about creation. Also, if you're just watching stuff, share art, share what you're watching with people. James Gunn recently did like a whole thread on Twitter about movies that he recommends people to watch while they're quarantined. And that's just such a great positive way of sharing art with people. Even if you've got like, parents or kids that haven't seen anything, show them stuff. With everything that's been going on, I've been playing Death Stranding and showing Crystal Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think it might just be the insanity of the situation, but I'm loving Death Stranding, and Crystal is adoring Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I discovered how great it was. If there's
it's a really good show.
If there's
one
thing,
excellent show.
It's so great. Oh my God, I was in tears earlier. But if there's anything that could be taken away from this, is just don't worry, it's all going to be okay. But the most important thing that we can do is not lose our minds, not give in to the panic. And entertainment is the best way to kind of help us from, like Stanley said, going off the deep end. Even if we watch something as funny as Shaun of the Dead or as emotionally devastating as Schindler's List, the fact that we're able to feel something, to empathize through art, it's something that the virus can't take away from us.
That's right, you damn virus. You can't take my empathy. Even if you want to watch Contagion and just see like the world try to figure it out, that is something that you can do right now.
Funnily enough, my friend from YouTube, Gwendolyn J. Stone, she messaged me earlier today and said, "Oh my God, I just watched Contagion for the first time in years. It was probably not the best thing to watch during this time."
I barely
It's
remember
strangely
that movie.
prescient, though. It's so prescient, like the way that it's the ending of it and the way that's revealed how the virus started. It's just that's a heck of a movie, actually. I kind of liked that movie. Actually, I thought it was well made. It was well made, is what I mean. You know.
I need to watch that again, but I barely remember anything that happened there. I remember just the most I remember was Gwyneth Paltrow dying and getting an autopsy, and that's the extent of it. I need to watch that again though. But Josh, I just before we go further, Josh, I gotta say that was beautiful, man. Seriously.
Thank you.
Like, oh my God, that was just wow.
It was heartfelt, man. Hit me right where I live. Right where I live. Well done. Well
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It means a lot that you guys appreciated it.
Yeah. So everybody, go read that article at renegadepopculture.com. I'm going to say that one more time for you. All right. And then basically, what we just want to do is just reiterate what a lot of the healthcare and government officials have said over the past few days, and just be safe and careful out there. Stay at home, take care of yourselves, and let's make sure we practice good hygiene. You know what I mean? Like, wash our hands. Use that toilet paper for what it's supposed to be for, instead of just hoarding it and then trying to drive up prices on like eBay or something. Please, let's not do that. Everybody just, be kind to one another and support each other in this time. And, we're going to get through it, because you know why? Because Chris Jericho said so. Because he did a 30-second video on his YouTube channel and said, "We're going to get through this, guys." All you wrestling fans, you know what I'm talking about. All right. So with that all being said, let's talk about what we came here to talk about, which is the streaming wars. So we have, of course, a lot of players in the streaming space. You have the big guys like Netflix and Amazon, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max. We got CBS All Access, Apple TV Plus. There's NBC's new streaming service called Peacock, because they're gonna be peacocking. Because they want to show off their peacock wings.
Keep it PG, Kiona.
Oh no, that's okay. We're explicit on iTunes. We don't care.
He can't help it. When you have a name like Peacock, you kind of set yourself up.
Yeah.
Yes. Come on, NBC. All right. Anyway, so what do you guys want to talk about in terms of the big streamers here? Well, we also have a new one called Quibi that's coming out.
Yeah.
I suppose that's how you pronounce it. Quibi.
Yeah, just really, I'd like to most talk about just, what these streaming services have to do if they want to stay relevant, what we can be seeing in the future, see if we can look into our crystal ball and see if we can foresee what we can expect from the current industry that is changing the face of the entertainment industry as we know it.
And also, does the crystal ball have a peacock?
It does, in fact, have a peacock.
Oh my God, this is just
But is it a Quibi peacock?
I have too many things.
Is it a Peacock Plus?
It's the Peacock
Perhaps.
plus.
You're
plus.
killing me.
Okay.
Oh my God, Peacock All Access.
Yeah, Peacock. Peacock All Access.
Because we're 12 years old all of a sudden.
Peacock Max. Okay, we're done with the Peacock jokes. All right. So let's move on here.
The thing is, like, I think the big ones really don't have a problem, except for one really big one. But it's the smaller, more niche streaming services that are really, they're really gonna have to prove themselves.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Like DC Universe, I think that's going to be one of the first ones to go.
I think they're going to just fold that into HBO Max.
Yeah,
frankly.
I was just about to say, yeah, it's just because why even bother? Like, you know, they also have their DC movies on HBO Max. They have a lot of them on there.
Mhm.
So what's even the point?
Especially, like, as much as I love DC, and I would, a part of me would rejoice in getting a DC Universe subscription. A part of me also thinks, well, I know for a fact I would do it just to watch a couple of my favorite shows. And then I'd probably, if I didn't forget about it immediately, I'd immediately cancel my subscription and go back to bumming off my friend Audie for her Hulu subscription. That's the reality of it. Just that DC Universe only offers a small part, and even then, a part of the reason why I would even go to DC Universe is because they took away Batman the Animated Series from Amazon, which I'm also bumming from someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like your friends taking off Netflix, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just little things like that, and even CBS All Access. I completely forgot about CBS All Access, except for the fact that they have the Twilight Zone and the two Star Trek shows that everybody hates.
Yeah.
I like Picard. Well, what I've seen of it.
Yeah. I haven't seen enough of it, but even then, like, CBS All Access, like, I'm just more confused that they thought, of all people, yeah, let's throw our heads into the streaming wars.
Yeah, I mean, CBS, it is one of the prime, broadcast channels. And so, like, every other broadcast company is owned by a larger company that's going to have its own streaming service. Like, ABC is owned by Disney, and NBC is owned by Comcast. And so, CBS, they just recently merged again with Paramount. So, that's another thing. I think we will be seeing bigger things from CBS All Access. Definitely. They have announced that it's going to be a new central hub for the library content of what is now CBS Viacom.
That's interesting.
Well, yeah, obviously that was the main reason why Viacom and CBS merged. I mean, we all know that's the reason.
Yeah.
And so
it's so funny though, because I thought that Viacom and CBS had always been merged. Like, I thought they were a thing for like a long time.
Yeah, well, they were for a while, but then they separated back in 2006, I think.
Well, I will say, at least there's one thing that I will give most of these, like, streaming services, even Apple, which, again, I forgot that even Apple had a streaming service. It's the fact that at least they planned ahead and started creating content.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
true.
That leads me to, if you guys are okay with it, I'm going to rant about Disney Plus.
Please do.
Rant on Disney Plus.
Mickey, I hope you're hearing, because you done goofed it.
Or goofied it.
You hooked
it up.
I am so frustrated because Disney should be decimating everybody right now. Like, there was this video, I was mentioning it before we started, but there was this perfect video from Captain Midnight on YouTube. Go check him out. He has a 2-part video series on the problems with Disney Plus, and they echo a lot of my sentiments. But before all that, My base issue with Disney Plus is that Disney doesn't know what they're doing with it. Compared to the ones that I've used, which are Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon, and I guess even to a lesser extent YouTube, Disney Plus is so messy. It took a solid 2 months before they started posting, like having a new release thing. Even then, I don't even know if it's still there. I think I stumbled upon it accidentally. It has terrible service. I cannot even watch an episode of, like, I don't know, DuckTales without the service crashing or just freezing. And then I have to rewind it and wait for it all to buffer again. It is so messy and just so inconsistent with how it is run. And on top of that, the library that they have is so okay. It's all the movies that they own as Walt Disney. It's all the movies that they own and all the subsidiaries that they have. I get it. You have stuff like Avatar that they just bought. You know what? After seeing all the Marvel movies on there and all the Star Wars movies, you know what? Okay, I'm game for that. It's weird seeing Ice Age and the little creepy little squirrel thing right next to Toy Story, but that's beside the point. That's more of a difference in animation opinions. But it's the fact that they have all these things, but yet they're changing them up just because they want to keep that family-friendly image. I heard they censored Adventures in Babysitting. I've never even seen it, but there's like a line in there that they censored it.
That's pretty problematic.
Yeah,
it's not even.
Sorry, go on. Joel, go on, Josh.
It's not just that. Like, it's even in art preservation, because now they have The Simpsons, and they posted all the episodes that they have, and most of them are in the incorrect aspect ratio, which isn't a huge thing that most people think about, but it is, just because it's not how the episodes were originally aired. It's not how they were presented. And because of that, people aren't going to be able to see the proper way that these jokes are told. They're not going to see how the episodes were originally released, and it ruins the quality. And they don't offer the viewers the option to see it like this. Because I know in the past, I used to hate, different aspect ratios. I wanted the whole screen to be filled. So I know there's some people that are like that. But the fact that they don't give the option and they ruin it, and at the same time, they're breaking like history, animation history in that sense, is very disgusting to me. But all that wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for the fact that they do not have nearly enough content to defend their existence. Like, if you have families, Disney Plus is perfect. Just, put on Toy Story or any of the shows or movies that you grew up with. Well, you take care of chores or, cheat on your husband, it's all good. But it's a different landscape. I got in a minor disagreement with somebody on Twitter, although I didn't take it too far, because they're talking about how, Netflix in its inception wasn't dealing with any of this backlash. Like, they didn't need original programming in order to survive when it was first created. And that's true. In the early days of Netflix, the biggest selling point that it had was you didn't need to go out and rent these movies or shows. You didn't need to record with a VHS player or anything. You could just click and you can watch it right there, or you can get it sent to your home. And then eventually they realized, you know what? We have this big cornerstone. What if we tried actually creating shows for these people? What if we started creating entertainment so that way we can offer something that they won't need to go anywhere else for? And that's how we got shows like BoJack Horseman, Orange is the New Black, and Stranger Things, which is probably one of the most popular shows right now.
Mm-hmm.
It is a different landscape now than it was in 2000. when did Netflix launch? Like 2009?
Not even that. It was like originally they were founded in
It was
97.
before that.
97 they were founded.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Like, it is a much more different landscape. And now if you have a streaming service, you either have to have something special or you need to have something good that people are going to watch. You know, that's why Hulu has shows like The Runaways, which I think isn't working anymore, or Castle Rock, and Amazon Prime has The Boys, and DC Universe, it has Doom Patrol. And
oh god, I thought you were gonna say Titans.
Or Harley
God,
Quinn.
no.
Yeah,
That I
I
still
mean
need
Harley
to see.
Quinn. That's pretty cool.
But
Good show.
Disney Plus, I mean no disrespect to anybody that likes High School Musical, the series, or any of the other offerings that they have, but all they've got is The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
And
basically.
I get why people were kind of disappointed with the fact that they've only released like episodes weekly. They wanted to give people a reason to come back.
I love that.
The thing of it was for me was that the episodes were short.
Yeah.
Like I didn't expect them to be that short. And and that makes me think of like Falcon and Winter Soldier. Is that going to be as short as the Mandalorian episodes, or are they going to actually put like make it at least the length of a regular show on TV? Because usually you go to these streaming things and it's like their original content is longer, but in this case it was shorter.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a turnoff for me.
I think it's more of a budgetary thing. We'll get into more of like the binging and all that later, because there's a lot to say there too. But
yeah,
with Disney Plus, they announced like right before its launch, they had all these other things that they were doing. They had Falcon and Winter Soldier, they had Loki, they had WandaVision, they had this and this and that, more Star Wars stories. You had Mandalorian, you had Obi-Wan, Cassian Andor. You had so many things, and what did they launch with? They launched with one episode of Mandalorian and their whole catalog, which, although that's impressive, after Mandalorian wrapped, what are you coming back to? I get why people immediately turned off and quit Disney Plus, because they're like, well, all the Disney stuff, we can just get it over here.
Yeah, people were waiting for the ending of Mandalorian to happen so that they could just do the 7-day free trial and just be like, well, we just binged the Mandalorian.
That is brilliant.
That's it.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, it's and I don't encourage that. Speaking as someone who has to do this. But, I mean, it's a smart thing to do, honestly, especially if you only have that one show that you really want to see. Right. I mean, what else are you buying Disney Plus for besides The Mandalorian and besides, Baby Yoda?
The animated movies?
Yeah, some of the animated movies. I mean, I pretty much, before Disney Plus even came out, I already have all the animated movies and all the Marvel movies on video on demand or physically bought, because
or like
they had that whole Disney Movie Club thing, which I was a part of as well, and just bought like The Little Mermaid and all that stuff off of, and like Tangled and all that. You don't really. What makes Disney Plus essential other than it's from Disney?
I honestly, yeah, well, I think like, just because it didn't get off on a spectacular start, I think there are reasons to be anticipating future releases like the Marvel series. So I don't think that we should just write it off as just a mediocre streaming service just because that it got off on kind of a rocky start.
That's a good point.
I mean, I get that, but at the same time, if you had said this back in December, I completely understand. But now we're in March. It's been October, November, December, January. That's almost half a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, like they should have at least, the smart thing would have been to start with the announcements of those shows and then immediately only announce them as you're about to start filming. I know with this instant news world, you kind of, that stuff ends up leaking way before you even get a grip on it. But it's Disney. They have the power to do that stuff.
Yeah, it'd be so much more.
That way. Go ahead.
It'd be so much cooler if they announced that right before this stream, like what they did. I remember they did the same thing with 10 Cloverfield Lane, the long-awaited Cloverfield sequel. They announced that 2 months before it was released. So, yeah, Disney could have taken a page from their book right there.
Mm.
Like, it would be so perfect. And in this unfortunate situation that we're in right now, I hate to say, I think Disney would probably be dominating if they had, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and maybe even the Obi-Wan series out right now.
Yeah.
They could do what DC Universe did, where they did Titans, and then immediately after Titans, bam, they got Doom Patrol, and then after Doom Patrol, bam, you had Swamp Thing.
And then they killed it, and now it's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
On one hand,
I don't know.
I do appreciate the weekly release schedule thing, just because when you're making a serialized season where every episode ends on a cliffhanger, waiting a week, that builds up the suspense. That episode 9 that of The Mandalorian, that ended on a hugely suspenseful cliffhanger. So, and you had to wait about a week to see what would happen at the series finale, and that really works, I think.
Yeah, let's actually talk about that in a second. But first, before we do that, I want to kind of cover Quibi a little bit, because I was watching some of the trailers and stuff for some of their shows, and I have to admit, I didn't expect them to look interesting, but they kind of do. Certain ones do. But to me, it just reminds me of like web series, basically.
Yeah.
It kind of took me back to when Dr. Horrible was coming out. Josh, you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it reminds me of, just with maybe a higher budget. But I don't know. Like, what do you guys think of Quibi?
I think that it's an interesting venture. I think it's an interesting venture, like to play around with the idea of your phone being a source of, like, where you can exclusively watch original content. I think that it's a very bold experiment on Jeffrey Katzenberg's part. Because Jeffrey Katzenberg, he is a smart businessman. Whether you thought that he was a jerk on the Disney side of things, whatever side you take on the Disney DreamWorks thing, it's an interesting venture. I'm fascinated to see where it goes, but we already have YouTube for quick content, so I don't know if people are going to be willing to buy a certain app on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, even. So, it's always it's always welcoming to see a new streaming service take on original content, but I'm just being cautiously optimistic about it.
One thing that
me too.
One thing that I do like about Quibi, that sorry, I still have one last thing left, like, pent up about D+. But one good thing about Quibi is that it feels like very ambitious. Like, it feels like the perfect ground for short filmmakers to really thrive.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I was coming home from work for a lunch break one day, and I found out that Steven Spielberg is doing a reboot of Amazing Stories.
Yeah.
And I was blown away with how good it looked, and at the same time I thought, okay, I know Spielberg isn't behind the camera, and as far as I know, with the Quibi shows, there's only like a few big names attached to it, like Guillermo del Toro and Sam Raimi and so forth. But I don't know if it's in a directing sense or in a writing or producing sense. And from what I saw of Amazing Stories, at least in that trailer, I think they advertised that it was going to be like really diverse filmmakers.
Yeah.
And that's pretty exciting. That's giving people that probably, wouldn't have gotten like a big shot with any other network or service or even production company, like a chance to work with the big boys and just be like, hey, we want to see your vision, and it's through this thing that people will pay for. You will get your residuals back.
It's interesting because Spielberg has been famously vocal that he does not particularly care for movies on Netflix qualifying for Oscars. He's a very much an old school kind of guy in the department. So the fact that even he is involved in some way with streaming, that shows that it does have a certain appeal to it. Because if even Spielberg himself can see that.
It's the optimistic side of me thinking, you know what? I hope to God that Spielberg is doing this for the benefit of future filmmakers and more diverse voices, and not the cynical part of me that thinks it's Jeffrey Katzenberg tying Spielberg's hands behind his back and saying, look, I invested everything into this. You need to help me. I do not want to fold under.
Yeah, I don't know how, I honestly don't know after the whole DreamWorks thing, I don't know how close Spielberg and Katzenberg are at this point.
Yeah, that's a question.
So, Josh, do you have something similar to Quibi, or can we hear about your last rant about Disney Plus?
Honestly, Quibi, I'm interested if just for the fact that the promise that it has and the fact that, like Kiona said, it takes us back to kind of the exciting way that YouTube kind of blew up and like the internet blew up with shorts and web series and everything. It's got me really interested and it's making me feel a little bit nostalgic. So with Quibi, I'm curious to see about it.
I like the fact that they're kind of remaking The Fugitive.
Yeah.
In that with Jack Bauer as the guy chasing the other dude, it's just like that's pretty cool.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah. I'll watch that. I'll watch 10 minutes of that every day or whatever,
So, Josh, you think that you think Quibi's going to do it for the phone what YouTube did for the internet, essentially?
Oh, hell yeah. I think so.
Okay, so is that it? Is that all you have to say about Quibi?
That's all I have to say.
Okay, so let's talk about. Should we talk about binge watching versus the episodic stuff then, or we kind of touched on that already? But
it's a slightly
like the weekly airing of shows versus binge watching.
It's a slightly bigger issue with that. Like,
okay,
it for me, I think binge watching is only appropriate for some shows, but the idea of binge watching a whole series, I think, is very harmful.
Yeah,
when it comes to appreciating a show.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
I don't know where you guys like how else you guys see it. It's just for me, I remember since I've been editing the video for it, watching Game of Thrones, I remember going through the whole series and just being engrossed with everything and watching it. And then the new episodes come out and it just creates this itch where it's like, oh my God, you want to watch the next one. But it's also kind of, in a sense, unhealthy appreciating the art because you basically had every episode right then and there.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, there's not as much waiting. There's not much downtime between episodes when you have access to the next one, and the temptation is just too big for you to ignore it.
Yeah, and I think too that for me it's a little difficult to binge watch shows just because I have so much other things going on in my life.
Yeah.
Like I have to work on this podcast and got to keep the website running, and it's just like, I'm so busy, and sometimes I don't have the time to sit there and watch 3 hours of, Daredevil or Game of Thrones or like whatever it is. And I just don't have the time to do that. So for me, like watching The Mandalorian in those bite-sized pieces was better.
Exactly.
Even though, and it sort of allowed us to talk about it as well, which is another point that a lot of people bring up, which is that if you binge watch something, 1 week later, no one's talking about it because everybody already binged it and everybody's already talked about it, and it's done. It's out of the cultural zeitgeist, so to speak.
Yeah, I always remember I always remember like when every season of Stranger Things would come out. Like the first season was probably the best one, at least culturally speaking, just in the sense that it
Yeah,
kind of crept up on everybody and it just kind of
yeah,
snowballed in people being like, hey, have you seen this show? No, what are you talking about? Stranger Things, it's great. And then the next season, everybody was so excited. They were ready for that engrossing mystery. They talked about it
mhm,
for a solid week and then it just fizzled out.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then season 3, I don't remember people really talking about it all that much, even though it's my favorite season.
No, I agree.
But I think that people just kind of got used to Stranger Things and just kind of moved on, maybe, or it wasn't the hot thing anymore.
Yeah, that's like Netflix
But
has something
I,
else apparently.
yeah,
Yeah,
And
that's
that,
another thing about releasing them on a weekly basis is that you keep anticipation longer. You know, people you're still it's you're preserving it in the minds of other people. You know, you're preserving. You know, people are still going back to it within like the next few months or so.
hmm,
Yeah, I think binge watching only works for a show where the episodes aren't, or it's where it's a little more episodic. You know, it's not as serialized. You know, like because you have these episodes who are more standalone stories. You know, like you get what I'm saying?
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
otherwise like
I
when you
even
binge
think
watch.
just
I'm sorry, when you
go
binge
ahead.
watch. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I'm sorry, I was telling you to go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, the thing about binge watching is it kind of turns TV more into a movie, essentially like a 3 hour movie, essentially, and that kind of like it blurs the line between the two a little too much for me.
Hmm.
Nah, yeah, you're right. And it just, for me also, I think I can't speak for a lot of people because they might think, oh, you're just being overly sensitive. I also think health wise, binge watching is very destructive.
I can see
Just
that.
in that
Yeah.
sense that if you're actually able to sit down and watch the entire series of The Office in about 4 days, that is, I mean, don't get me wrong, at least you found something that you enjoy, but you need a break.
Exactly.
You can't just, at least with the video games, you're at least doing something with your brain. You're at least like being physical. You're at least
Yeah.
like working yourself out logically. But with,
You're engaged.
yeah, and with a TV
Yeah.
show, if you're just watching a series, like don't get me wrong, you can eventually you can watch a whole bunch of episodes where me and Crystal were binging Avatar: The Last Airbender, but we still have points where we stop
Hmm.
just because
Hmm.
we can't sit down and literally watch nonstop. I remember with my mom when we were watching Game of Thrones and everything and Stranger Things, you know, we mostly did just so that she would sit down and relax. But she also had a point, like we can't watch it all the time, and sometimes it would get so bad that we would watch things all the way up until 3 a.m.
Yikes.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there comes a point where after you watch something like that too, it's like the sense of, all right, well now what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I've seen it all.
The
What else is there to
the
see?
weekly route is also very nostalgic. I think just kind of bringing back the just that sense of unity time, like in the sense that if movie theaters are really suggested to be going the way of the dodo now with recent events, having something weekly kind of creates that little ritual of being able to bring people back together for entertainment.
Yeah, I remember that was like
That's true.
yeah, I remember the 50s. That was like when TV was introduced. It was kind of seen as like what brought families together. You know, it was like it was what after dinner, like the families would just gather around the TV and they watch I Love Lucy or The Honeymooners, or Leave It to Beaver. It was like you said, Josh. It was a unifying thing.
Yeah. But I will say that there are some shows where, I really want to watch. So then I'll binge them. But I don't know, for me it's a give and take. Even though I'm kind of more on the side of the weekly release now, I kind of like that a little bit better. But at first, I was really into the whole like, oh, cool, we can watch all 8 episodes of whatever of like The Punisher or something, and then it's like super slow moving, and I couldn't get into it after that. But anyway, it depends. It depends on the show. So for me, personally speaking, like Altered Carbon, for instance, like that's a show I really should like, but I feel like those first 2 episodes were such a slow burn. I just got bored.
Truth be told, I kind of felt the same about Breaking Bad. It is a very slow show.
In the beginning, yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, I love Breaking Bad. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, like it's not the kind of show. It is, in my opinion, it's much better suited to watch on a weekly basis than binge watching. I don't know how anyone could binge watch Breaking Bad. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it depends a lot on the show, and it depends on how you're feeling too, because like you can be in just a mood where you just don't want to watch that kind of TV, or you want something that's a bit faster, a bit quicker. Okay, but so let's talk about streaming rights and how they seem to be in a constant state of flux, and when it comes to like Disney Plus or Netflix, how there's like a revolving door in terms of what content stays and what content just kind of disappears. Like we were talking earlier about Disney Plus and how it seemed like they were going to have the whole library of movies available and series available, and then all of a sudden, certain ones just kind of dropped off.
Yeah,
which wasn't something that we signed up for.
Exactly. Like that was partially the main reason why they bought Fox, was so they can include the family-friendly Fox titles and The Simpsons, which, of course, they put them in the wrong aspect ratio. Okay, which pissed off a lot of fans. Okay, and also you had certain Fox movies like The Sandlot and Garfield the movie, and and even Home Alone. Okay, so like Home Alone, it was around during the holiday season, but then it wasn't, and that's because before Disney Plus, the Fox, they gave the rights to these films, broadcast rights to certain networks, and like Disney, I guess they forgot about that, and that's when I even remember when they were announcing Disney Plus, they had a whole page full of like family Fox titles. Some of them were like Fantastic Mr. Fox, and which really pissed me off that Fantastic Mr. Fox isn't on Disney Plus. That really pissed me off. And also, Horton Hears a Who, and Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, and like they put a lot of Fox movies into and apparently like only a small percentage of them actually made it to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
All except Avatar. Avatar, I think that's going to be on Disney Plus for a while, and that's because it was such a huge hit. It was the highest grossing movie ever at the time that Fox wasn't willing to give that to another broadcasting channel. They pretty much held on to that.
That's true.
God, what a mess. What a mess.
Yeah, do you have any thoughts on this, Josh?
I've said it before. Just I hate the fact that they don't have any plan with this. I didn't even get into that with how disorganized they were with the rights, because when as much as they advertise, oh yeah, we got every movie that Disney owns, we've got it all, baby. They really don't, and it is so. As much as they own half the planet, they're still trying to get a little bit more money out of the bloodstones that is their properties by selling it off to everybody, that they're also hurting themselves.
Well, I'll tell you what, that kind of leads us into a certain crazy sort of piece of speculation that's been making the rounds these days, which is that there are some analysts that say that Apple could be in a position to buy Disney because Disney's stock has just completely dropped. Like their market cap has dropped. Apple's has also dropped in the midst of this coronavirus thing, but they have stayed more afloat than Disney has. So Could Apple buy Disney and actually take over Disney Plus and take over everything? The theme parks, ABC, ESPN, the Marvel Cinematic Universe could all be under Apple's umbrella. What do you guys think of that?
I'm not sure about that, but just the thought itself is scary. Okay, the fact that a company can buy Disney. I mean, just say that
Yeah.
loud. A company buying Disney.
Yeah.
That's like some end of the world stuff right there, you know.
Disney just seemed unstoppable. It was the juggernaut of companies. It walked around and said, "I'm the Disney Plus, bitch."
Especially in the past
And
decade,
that
yeah.
was pretty much what it did. I mean, yeah. What in the world? I mean, let's take a look at what this guy said. Okay, so this analyst here, he said that basically he notes 4 reasons why Apple should buy Disney.
Should.
Because of market volatility, which has created an attractive entry point. Disney shares are down more substantially than Apple stock is. Disney is in the middle of a CEO transition. Bob has transitioned into other Bob. Disney Plus could solve Apple's content problem, and he thinks Apple TV Plus is off to a relatively slow start. This is the analyst who's talking here. And also that it could be a unifying force in the brand. So like you could have, Disney it would benefit from basically customer relationships driving more subscriptions to Disney Plus, theme parks, movie tickets. What do you guys think of that?
Well, he's not really wrong there. I mean, it could benefit from the blending of the two. And actually, I think it will transition better than any of the company has transitioned to Disney after Disney bought them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like Star Wars didn't go as smoothly. Marvel didn't go as smoothly. I think the only buyout that went really smoothly was Pixar, and that was because they already had a relationship with Disney. They were distributing their movies at the time.
True.
There's just the part of me that I guess it's just kind of putting on the blinders for it, but I don't see it happening.
Neither do I.
It's just fun to speculate.
All that said, I think I see where this analyst was coming from and where the guys that were talking about this were coming from. But, Apple has a lot of money, but they're basically going to spend the majority of it if they wanted to purchase Disney. And also they're going to have to get into the theme park business. They're going to have to run ABC as a network TV channel. They're going to have to run ESPN. It just seems like a lot of trouble for Apple. And it seems like something where they're going to take a lot of risks if they do.
And it would cost a lot of people a lot of jobs.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Apple definitely isn't really geared up for Apple doesn't have a lot of experience of movies and TV, and so these things are pretty alien to Apple. And also I honestly do think in the next decade Disney movies are going to drop significantly in value. Significantly.
You think so?
Yes, because I'm skeptical on how well the Marvel movies will do in a post-Infinity Saga era.
Yeah.
And also the Star Wars movies have shown diminishing returns. Like we've always shown the only way Pixar can make $1 billion, which is basically the one thing that a movie has to do these days to really be relevant, to really punch a hole in the wall, is to make $1 billion. And Pixar is only able to do that when they're making their sequels, okay? Because they're making their so I think making $1 billion is going to be the next step, and seeing how much value a movie franchise or a brand has, definitely, because now
and that's kind of called into question. I mean, go ahead, Jacob.
How is that being called into question?
Well, I mean, it's kind of being called into question right now because right now we're getting nothing in theaters. The theater business is like a big, universal sign of the donut at this point because of the coronavirus.
Well, obviously.
So we have Yeah. So like if this continues throughout, God forbid, if it continues throughout more than let's say 3 months, like for the rest of the calendar year, and we don't have theaters opening up, and the coronavirus is still a thing, um, what happens to like big budget blockbusters? Do they even get made? Because at that point, no one's going to be able to see them,
Well, yeah, they have already
and we're
halted
not
the
going to make big
production
money off
on tons of movies. They've all Warner Brothers
it.
they
Yeah.
on the new Fantastic Beasts movie. They've halted production on the Matrix 4. They've halted Universal's halted production on Jurassic World 3, and
Yeah.
yes, that is gonna. They are. I think they will. If this does blow over within the 3 months, they will start going back to them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not like the effects of the virus aren't just gonna away with it. Like if the coronavirus actually does go away, that doesn't mean that things will all be hunky dory.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do think they will pursue them. It's just really going to depend on how well the movies do after that, because I think blockbusters will have a lot to prove. Assuming that
I think so too.
Black Widow does end up on does get released in theaters instead of being released straight to Disney Plus. It is going to have to. I was even skeptical that it would even surpass the $1 billion mark before this, because it's this. Yeah, this is her. This yeah, people have been looking for a Black Widow movie, sure, but this is she's already appeared in what 7 movies before this, and she's done basically any, and to the point where she dies in Avengers Endgame. So there's really not a whole lot more you can do with that character, and the fact that it's a prequel. Okay, so it's got a lot going against it in terms of making $1 billion.
If
Yeah.
for more than anything, I just feel really bad for the director of the New Mutants.
Oh
God.
God!
I was going to say.
Poor Josh Boone, and no, it's not just because his name is Josh. Haha. Just with movies like that, just movies that already have a big uphill struggle for them, blockbuster wise. Just the fact that all this hit them, it's absolutely devastating. I don't think that the theater experience is going to go away anytime soon. That's the optimist in me speaking as a filmmaker, because you can have, we talked about this before we record, you can have a lot of very, very bad theater experiences with with a movie, especially with a big blockbuster movie like that. For me, there still hasn't been a worse theater experience that I can recall than watching Infinity War and Endgame with my mother-in-law, and she was talking throughout some of the bigger moments, and especially right when Tony Stark's about to sacrifice himself, the stones are crawling up his hands,
Oh no.
and he's like,
Jesus.
"I am," and there's a beat of silence, and she says, "Iron Man," but like loud enough that everybody could hear, and we all went. But
I'm so sorry, Josh.
It's okay, but it also means that there's room for great theater experiences. Like for me, when I watched Knives Out for the first time in the movie theater, just how engaged the audience were, laughing at every joke that landed, the donut monologue, the twists and turns that were unfolding, or going to go see Revenge of the Sith or even The Force Awakens for the first time, just the cheers that erupt when the title crawls happen, or just the overwhelming melancholy that everyone felt when they walked out of Infinity War.
Yeah,
Just
I remember that.
Nothing can compare to just seeing it with a crowd. Like you can do it at home. You can have blockbusters at home, but the downside with that is that when you're at home, you have an excuse to multitask. And when you multitask, your attention isn't on what people spend hours, days, months, and years perfecting, whether it's like the writing or the acting or the directing or visual effects. You're thinking, well, I can put this on while I wash the dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have certain movies and certain shows that I just do that. I kind of like turn it on just to have background noise, basically, which is not out of disrespect. It's just
No.
out of like I like this stuff, and I can have it on in the background, and I can do stuff while I'm watching it or while I have it on.
I don't do that often. I just when I turn a movie on, I just try to focus, which isn't always easy because sometimes I have a lot of stuff on my mind, and sometimes I forget, I fade out an important piece of information or something that's given. I try not to do that. Like maybe I will try to do that as background noise, but yeah, I'm not really used to that idea.
It has to be something that I'm really familiar with, and it has to be something that I really like, so that I already know it. Like I know the movie, I'm just having it on just to have it on, and then I'll look up and be like, "Oh yeah, that part's cool."
Yeah.
And then, yeah, I don't know. It's just
Oh,
me.
actually, no.
Just something I
I
do.
take that back because sometimes I would go on my phone when a movie's going on, just because I'm a little that occupied about what my friends are posting on Facebook, and sometimes I do forget certain things in a
Sure.
movie. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe when you define multitasking like that, I guess I am a little better at that than I think I am.
Yep. Um. Okay, so let's see here. Another news item that happened this week was that Fox, basically new Fox, so not the part that Disney owns,
Right.
but Fox Corporation actually purchased Tubi, which is the ad-supported video streaming service, which apparently has grown in some popularity over the past few months.
Interesting.
And they are buying it, and they're gonna just use it to basically offload their backlog of movies and shows that they still own to Tubi, and just reach some of their consumers that way. But they're not going to be producing any originals for it, which is interesting. Um,
Yeah, I suppose.
any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I suppose there is room for that kind of streaming service where it's just all library content, because I have looked up that Tolby they already have deals with MGM and Lionsgate and Paramount, and that's something like MGM and Lionsgate, they're not going to have their own streaming services. I highly doubt that's going to happen, just because
Highly doubt it.
MGM just isn't the same as it once was 50 years ago. And also Lionsgate, they're a successful, relatively successful company, but it's nowhere near as much of a brand name as Disney or even Universal or Warner Brothers. So yeah, these certain companies, they are going to have deals with other companies, with other streaming services, and if that's something like Tolby, then so be it.
Mm-hmm. Josh, you have any thoughts on that one?
Sorry.
Josh?
I mean, I thought I unmuted it. I don't know. I mean, for me, something like Tubi can exist, like that kind of library thing. But I think something like, is it a subscription based thing?
It's free.
Okay,
it's free, it's ad supported.
If it's free but ad supported, it really has like a lot of competition in that sense with Crackle, which is probably one of the better substitutes for people that don't want to pay for Netflix or Hulu. It's just, even with those kinds of free subscription services, it's it's a tough game.
Yeah.
I wish them all the best, because you know what? For free alternatives like this, I'm honestly game for it, and I think most people would too, especially with network TV starting to kind of trying to play catch up with like the big streaming giants.
I mean, even Peacock is going to go, they're going to have their free tier of content, which is going to be ad supported, and then they have the paid tiers, which are less ads or no ads.
You see, you can rise your Peacock with bigger, with more rewards.
The peacock will rise.
The peacock will
spread its wings and fly.
Hear the call of majestic peacock.
In the faint distance, you can hear the majestic song of Bob Greenblatt.
Yeah. Yeah. A peacock named Richard. That's a joke you gotta think about a little, I know.
I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, the peacock jokes. That's all this episode should just be called, the peacock jokes,
The
basically.
Peacock Hour.
Yeah.
Peacock.
Yeah, that's
Rise of the Peacock.
yeah. That's about these ads, these free subscription, these free streaming services. There's actually one relatively obscure one that I told you about, Kiona. It's called Canopy. And what's really interesting about Canopy is that it's for libraries and universities, and it's free. It's for students and people in libraries, and they have deals with the Criterion Collection and A24.
Ooh,
So what it is, and G Kids,
that's
and
awesome.
yeah, basically it's they say they're for thoughtful entertainment, and what I mean that is it's more like independent stuff. It's like really highbrow sort of stuff, like the A24 collection and the Criterion collection.
Yeah.
And actually, I have been even though I'm not technically a college student now, I do use it like from my old college account so I can catch up on certain movies, like so I don't have to pay for the Criterion channel. Like, that's where I can watch something like Amarcord and the 400 Blows, something that's really associated with highbrow filmmaking, and it's like
there's some really good movies on here. Yeah, I'm like looking at it right now.
Yeah,
it's really good movies.
Yeah, because they get their money apparently from deals with third-party distributors, and yeah, it's really cool. It's something for it for, and it's always cool to see how a streaming service finds their identity. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, because Netflix, I mean, they are the streaming platform. It's basically comes synonymous with it. It's literally called Netflix because you can watch flicks on the net. And I know, I just blew your mind. But
yes.
So
very much so.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, like how for a long time TV channels and networks they had to create their own identity. Here's the Food Network, and here's Turner Classic Movies, or here's American Movie Classics, and Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon, and we're seeing the exact same thing with this streaming business. Is that people have to have each one has to have their own niche. Every one of them has to have that little something to draw the audience in.
I mean, you have little streaming services like Curiosity Stream with documentaries, and you have Nebula for video essays, and you have like Funimation and Verve for anime,
and Crunchyroll.
Yeah. It's amazing. I mean, we're paying as much as we did for cable with these streaming services that are available, because that you get so many of them if you want everything.
Yeah, even though
if you're like me and you want everything.
Even though people say, with streaming, that means we can cut our cable cords, so we no longer need satellite. We no longer need. And meanwhile, yeah.
Meanwhile, everybody's like, "Where's the local news?"
Exactly.
Well, this coronavirus is going on. Everybody's like, "Give me my news." Oh my God, it's not. You mean it's not on Netflix? Netflix doesn't carry local news. What's wrong with these people?
You expect me to read at this day and age?
You expect me to use my iPad for reading?
You expect me to use my eyes for reading? How dare you?
That's the problem. No one reads anymore. It's the problem.
No one reads. I'm not even reading the text in front of me. Even with my own name, I can't read it.
Not reading. All right, so let's see. So this is another kind of, let's call it the hippopotamus in the room. The peacock in the room, so to speak. Which is that, speaking of Peacocks, NBC Universal is releasing some of its movies on demand early, including The Invisible Man, Emma, The Hunt, and Trolls World Tour. So, what do you guys think? This Friday, we're going to be getting the first three. So, we'll be getting Invisible Man, Emma, and The Hunt on video on demand. And I believe it's for rental, though. So, you're going to pay a higher price for just a rental period. I'm not sure if they're actually going to be for sale.
Yeah,
But
I think they're going to be for rental.
this is, I believe so. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna pay $20 for a
20
rental.
$20.
Yeah,
I still I want to check out Emma though. I just want to.
I do.
I out of the 4 movies, that's the one that interests me the most.
I actually want to see all of them, just because The Hunt is so controversial and stuff, and I kind of want to see it just for that reason.
I hear it doesn't,
but
really...
I don't know that I'm gonna. Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah.
But I hear, I mean, I'm not gonna pay $20 for like a 2-day rental period.
Yeah, I want to watch The Invisible Man again because I did see that in theaters, and there were like several people and they were coughing throughout the movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, and so this is my chance to actually watch it the way intended in the comforts of my home. And also I want to check out Emma. That does seem like a decent like Oscar caliber movie, at least in terms of costume design. I don't know how far it'll go in the awards season, but and I think it's pretty interesting that Trolls World Tour is getting that kind of treatment because it is a sequel to one of DreamWorks' most successful movies recently. It's like, and is this going to be? And I think I think families who are hoping to take their kids to that, they can really benefit because I think that's the pretty much the ticket price for like a family with 2 kids. I think that's the average price for that, and I think they could actually, and they can just enjoy in the comforts of their home. The kids, they can go to the bathroom whenever they want. They can talk. They can have whatever snacks they want, and yeah, I think that is something that that family movies should consider in the future.
Yeah, I agree. Josh?
I'm sorry, $20 is too much for a rental. That is ridiculous.
Okay.
If they offered you can pay $20 for these new releases, that would be a game changer.
Fair enough.
Just to own it. That is insane.
Yeah, because what are they really? What's the game plan here? Because honestly, if they're gonna release it as a rental, are they planning on putting it back in theaters at some point and then offering it for sale later on? I mean, are they gonna just offer it for sale eventually later on? From this 48-hour rental period?
I don't think it'd be smart for them to put it in theaters after putting it on rental. I don't think, because
yeah.
And now the thing with the $20 thing is I think that's cheaper than if you buy a ticket these days with the popcorn and the soda, and
this is true.
I think it's really not. Is it really that worse than buying for the ticket and the popcorn and the soda, Josh?
I mean, that stuff is just what the theater needs in order to survive. At that point, it's not so much for the company. It's like for the production companies. It's more for the theaters.
Okay, yeah. Well, maybe...
Yeah.
With that, I'm more sympathetic.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I buy it, though. I sneak it in.
I don't do that just so I can... I just don't want to risk getting into trouble.
Well, I mean, Trolls World Tour is going to be, it's coming out on its original theatrical release date of April 10th. They're going to put it up for rental.
Assuming that theaters will be open at that time, so that because AMC, Regal, and Cinemark have all been, they've all been closed for indefinitely. So, what's even the point of releasing it theatrically at this point?
Oh no! I mean, they're releasing it as a rental on video on demand on the same date that it was supposed to be released in theaters.
No, but I've also heard that it was also supposed to be released in theaters simultaneously
as well.
That's from what I've heard. Yeah,
Why would you go to a theater and watch it now?
I
mean,
have
there's
no
no theaters
idea.
open.
You ask Universal, don't ask me.
Yeah, no, it's that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it is okay. It's a 48-hour rental period at a suggested retail price of $19.99 in the U.S. and the price equivalent in international markets. So, I mean, if you look at the list of theaters that are closed down, let me see if I can bring that up here. Domestic film exhibitor closures. So you have AMC, which has closed 8,043 screens. Regal, which has closed over 7,200 of them. Cinemark, over 4,600 of them. Cineplex, Marcus, Harkins, B&B Theaters, Landmark Cinemas of Canada, Alamo Drafthouse is all closed.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Premier Cinema Corp. It's just like crazy.
What chains
This
are
goes
even
out to
open at
all
this
my...
Well, I don't see Epic on that list, so Epic Theaters here in Florida is still open.
This goes out to all my
I
friends
guess.
that I made while working at Premier Cinemas. Man, those
Oh,
hours
man.
are about to get even worse for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alamo Drafthouse is just supposed to open one up in Orlando or something, or so I read at some point too. Like they had plans to open up a theater over there.
That's Cameron's theater, isn't it?
I'm not, probably.
Yeah, he
I'm not
lives in
sure.
Austin. He goes there all the time.
Oh,
At
okay.
least he used to. Yeah.
Oh, man, that's crazy. And then speaking of which, speaking of the whole, streaming thing and how things have changed recently, so Disney pushed up the release of Frozen 2 on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Put that on Disney Plus early, which I think it was something like 7 months earlier than they planned to.
About 3 months.
Because they wanted to bring some joy to the world.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Who's to say they won't do that with the Mulan remake? At this point.
Oh boy, I mean, I'm curious to see what happens because, like, with Black Widow and with Mulan, I mean, are they really gonna? They're gonna lose a lot of money if they just put it on Disney Plus.
True, I suppose. But sooner down the line, if this virus thing keeps building up, they just might not have a choice. Like.
True.
Like,
They gotta make that money back somehow.
yeah, well, they can make it by maybe that will increase the amount of subscribers. Like the people have been putting off Disney Plus for a while. They like, oh crap, Black Widow's gonna be on Disney Plus. I gotta have it then, I guess.
I think that one movie that they could definitely move to Disney Plus or move it to Hulu or something would be The New Mutants, just because that I don't think that movie's ever going to see release at this point. I think it's cursed.
I'm surprised is I'm surprised Disney's going to release Artemis Fowl. They're still planning to release that in theaters. Artemis Fowl.
Okay. Wow.
They really want that to fail.
Which theaters?
Yeah, like Artemis Fowl, even for the past few months, everyone's saying that it's going to be Disney's next big bomb. Like the trailers, like you've seen, like it's going to go the same way as A Wrinkle in Time and The Nutcracker in the Four Realms and the BFG and all these live action Disney movies that just did not do well at the box office. I cannot see this doing well at all. I cannot see that. I just cannot.
I don't see it either. I don't see that either. Last Friday, also saw the early release of Star Wars Episode 9 Rise of Skywalker on demand. So if anybody ordered that and got it on Friday, you were like, yay, a movie that I don't want to watch ever again.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, but Rise of Skywalker was just...
Thank you.
I don't even...
One day we gotta do a full
I know there's
it.
a bunch of people that really like that movie, but I don't know. To me, it's gotten worse the more that I think about it.
The people who really like Rise of Skywalker, I think, are the people who are just such diehard Star Wars fans that they, the point where they love all 9 of the Star Wars movies. That like if you're just really that undemanding for a Star Wars movie, because at this point there really is there is a fine gulf between people who love the prequels and hate the sequels and vice versa.
Yeah.
I'm Yeah, I think that's going to be on Disney Plus pretty early too. The new Star Wars movie,
Yeah, probably they're gonna move
and
it
also
up,
Onward,
I think, if they did it with
and
Frozen.
also Onward.
Onward, yeah. What they should do is just put it for sale. Put it on VOD for sale at first, and then let that go for a couple months, and then put it on Disney.
Yeah,
Plus.
that's actually a smart move.
They can recoup more money that way.
That's a smart move. Yeah.
Yeah, because even with with New Mutants, for instance, you don't put that on streaming immediately. You can just put it up for sale.
Yeah.
And people will buy it. I'll buy it. I'll buy it to go watch it.
It's certainly built up a fan base these past couple of years.
Yeah. So, okay, that kind of segues into which is what's happening with next week. So next week on March 24th, we're going to see 3 movies release on video on demand that we normally wouldn't have seen this early. We got Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman, Bloodshot, which just premiered in theaters, which just released in theaters, and that's going to be on VOD, immediately. And then we have Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, which I'm just going to call Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, because that title is bullshit. But yeah, I mean, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey. I like that movie. Don't get me wrong. I did. I actually like that movie a lot more than I was thinking I would.
I didn't expect it.
And it all comes down to Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie made that movie. She had some very good. There was actually good casting there. I like the Black Canary, Journey Smollett Bell, I think is her name. She was really good.
Love Ewan McGregor.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, that she can't do anything wrong, in my opinion. So she was great as Huntress.
Love you.
I don't know the name of the actress who played Renee Montoya, but she was really good too.
Yeah. Also, you can't go wrong with Ian McGregor as
and Ewan McGregor. Yes, as Black Mask. Yeah. He's amazing.
Yeah, contrary to what Twitter will tell you, it's actually possible for me to like both Joker and Birds of Prey at the same time. As crazy as it is to wrap that around your head.
Yeah. I think one is the fun comic book movie that embraces its comic bookness, and the other one is more of a serious, take on the character.
Yeah, it takes it in a different and takes it in an interesting direction. And yet, recently, just there's 2 different camps. If you like Birds of Prey, then you're an SJW, and if you like Joker, then you're just an alt-right troll or whatever.
Huh? I don't even understand that.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, the kind of immense vitriol and hyperbole that they levy on fans of both of those movies. And
yeah.
I don't get it, but at least people get to see it now. I didn't get a chance to see Birds of Prey until just a couple weeks ago. It was a genuine breath of fresh air, and I'm happy that more people are going to be able to experience it now. And now I have an excuse to watch the movie I was actually excited for, The Gentleman.
The Gentleman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't see it. I didn't get to see it, so I'm curious to watch it.
Looks mildly fun. It looks, if you're into Guy Ritchie stuff, then what you see, what you get. It's certainly.
It's very Guy Ritchie.
It looks much more interesting than Aladdin. It looks much more interesting.
Yeah, Aladdin was a movie that I was kind of okay. It was okay.
That's interesting. About Birds of Prey, we've been talking about good or bad audience experiences. When I saw Birds of Prey, no one made a peep during that entire movie, the entire screen I was in.
Really?
It was just dead. And truth be told,
wow.
I was kind of bummed at first. It was just kind of, I was kind of hoping for a little more acceleration. But then after going through all the people coughing at a movie and talking, I think, maybe I will take the silence.
Let the past
how
die.
full was the theater when you
Like
saw it?
7 or 8 people.
Okay. Yeah, because when I saw it, there was about as many people, and just very little reaction out of the audience. I thought.
I think yeah.
Um, even at the end, even at the very end, where she does that post credit sort of
I
joke
wasn't there to see
line.
it.
Oh man, I was so bummed.
That was one of the
at
funniest.
the end of that. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I just was so bummed that it didn't it really got me. It got me. But man, I hope they do a sequel to that just because I just want a full Harley Quinn, just a sequel with her, basically. Her and maybe with Cassandra Cain.
I don't know if they were really
the movie
planning.
version of Cassandra Cain.
I don't know if they were really planning to do it, and honestly, just because of they already have the Suicide Squad with James Gunn, and
yeah, and
it was
so.
probably meant to be just a one-off thing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we do need to see an actual Birds of Prey movie with Batgirl in it. Yeah, we do need that.
At least it did its job, and yeah, and yes, it actually did do well at the box office. It made twice its budget. So, no, Sonic did not trump Birds of Prey. The people, who I'm talking to.
Sonic did not beat Birds of Prey.
No, maybe it did, but it wasn't trumped. It didn't. Sonic did not trump Birds of Prey because Paramount listened to the gamers or whatever.
Well, Sonic is a family film, and Birds of Prey is an R-rated, action comedy. Right. No, so naturally, it's going to have more. Well,
actually, let me rephrase that. Sonic did do better than Birds of Prey, but it wasn't much. It wasn't a surprise that it did. It wasn't like the clean punch that people are figuring it out as.
Yeah. Well, do we have anything to add about Bloodshot? I'll watch it. I'll watch it just because.
I wish I knew
I
more.
like Valiant. I love Valiant's universe, so I really want to see them do well in that regard. I want to see a different, kind of a comic book movie sort of thing happen. But
this is just not the time.
Maybe it wasn't the right time.
You know what? Jim Shooter's legacy will live on in some other capacity.
Man, Jim Shooter. We could do an episode on him. We could do a comic book episode.
There was a video that came out on Comic Tropes about Jim Shooter and Vince Colletta, and it was mind-blowing.
Yeah, I have to watch that. Okay, so we've kind of touched on this, but do you guys, what do you guys think of this? If this coronavirus just keeps going and going, if it doesn't stop, have we seen the end of theaters for now?
No, for now, but not permanently.
Yeah, not permanently. I think that, assuming even if the coronavirus does go away quickly, it's still going to take a large bite out of the theatrical game because it moved a lot of movies back off of the summer schedule, like Black Widow, for instance, and it's probably going to cause a lot of other movies it already caused Fast and Furious, the new Fast and Furious movie, to be postponed until next year. So those two alone, that's the 1-2 punch that's really gonna beat the summer box office. And it's also, it's not just the coronavirus, but also I think that movies have definitely 2019 is where Disney peaked, and there's nowhere for them to go but down from here. And same with other.
It was definitely a peak here.
Yeah, there's nowhere, and not just Disney, but also other studios. They have a lot less precious franchises that they can milk at this point. The point where people are still interested in it.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think, Josh?
I offer one piece of just kind of the fact that the theatrical experience isn't dying, and surprisingly isn't dying right now in the midst of the coronavirus. On Larry Kurazuki's, I hope to God I'm pronouncing that right, Twitter page, he's the co-writer for Ed Wood and recently Dolomite Is My Name. He posted an article about how, surprisingly, drive-through theaters are thriving right now.
What?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'd heard something about this.
That people are willing to go to drive-through theaters just to recapture that experience, and it's a nice, safe way in the midst of the coronavirus to be able to spend time with loved ones while going out, while also being isolated.
Because you can basically just pile into a car. Well, not pile in, but I mean, you can get into a car and just drive there, and then you can you're not really exposed to other people. Like you can social distance yourself.
Yeah, in the comforts of your car.
That's the term we have to use.
In the comforts of your car, yeah. Even though you're in kind of close proximity with other people.
Yeah.
I think
your car is a barrier.
I think more than anything, though, just the fact that, of all things, drive-through theaters are picking up with this whole outbreak, I think it shows that the purity of the theatrical experience isn't going to go away anytime soon, and that leaves me very optimistic and hopeful.
Well, stay optimistic and hopeful, man.
Yeah, I feel like that's what we all have to do.
Like,
right
that's
now.
what this website a famous 80s singer said.
Yeah, that's why we made this website.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why Renegade Pop Culture exists.
Like a famous 80s singer said, you just gotta have faith. Thank you, Michael Jackson.
Oh my God. Did you do this?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, hey, you know what? Speaking of things that have been postponed, the Friends reunion has been postponed. But it's... They say it's still on track for the HBO Max launch. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, that's the thing, because Friends, that was like the #1 show on Netflix. The Netflix that paid like, what, $300 million just to keep the rights to Friends?
Yeah. Also, another thing that's been affected is of WrestleMania, which I know some of us guys, we like wrestling, so I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So apparently, the new news is that it's going to stream as a 2-night event with Rob Gronkowski hosting. The former Super Bowl champion, and also, I guess he was like, what was he? New England Patriot? I don't even know. Sorry, guys. Like, I've been out of football for a while. I just got back into it last season. So, anyway, they're going to be doing it's going to stream live on Sunday on the WWE Network. And it's also going to stream live on, let me see here. Yeah, streamed April 4th and 5th. So the 4th, which is Saturday, and 5th on Sunday on the WWE Network, and also available on pay-per-view, which if you have the WWE Network, you're not going to, the choice between the two, you're not going to pick pay-per-view, I don't think.
Right.
And of course, no audience. So no cheers in the audience, nothing. I don't know how that's gonna work for me, personally speaking. I mean, I feel like watching it now is just kind of awkward and weird.
Yeah, like any other sporting event, it'd just be weird.
Yeah, I mean, AEW did a pretty decent job tonight, because I feel like they had the other wrestlers in the audience and they were kind of cheering on, and the heels were being heels and the faces were being faces.
Even Ellen DeGeneres, even talk shows like Ellen, they stopped doing the live audience thing.
Yeah, and have you seen the late night talk shows?
No.
They've been going with no audience and stuff. Like Colbert is out there with no audience, and he's just filming it from home now, and Fallon is, and Jimmy Kimmel is.
We can do without Jimmy Kimmel.
Or Jimmy Fallon. But please not.
Yeah.
Just as long as Seth Meyers stays live.
Yeah, Seth Meyers and Stephen Colbert, I'll just take those.
Yeah,
two.
Me too.
And Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, and Andy.
That's
so maybe have a new sitcom with Conan and Andy.
Oh God, the late night show sitcom. That would be amazing. I would watch it. All right, guys. So I think we pretty much covered all of our topics
Yeah.
here. Did you have anything else that you want to say?
Can I just end with one last tiny little rant that I had about Plus
Please.
that I wouldn't feel right ending the podcast without talking about it.
Go ahead, man.
Go for it.
So I brought up earlier that with Disney Plus, the biggest problem has been their lack of TV shows. I think another problem that's been arising right before, things started going really quiet is the fact that Disney Plus, or at least the people up at Disney, don't trust the shows that they're creating. So, Mandalorian, it seemed like they pretty much they gave that one the full reins because hell, we need to launch with that one. But it's how they've handled every other show that they're releasing. Just kind of, I don't know. I'm not getting good vibes from any of the people that are greenlighting the shows because they don't sound like they have a set plan. They're just like, yes, yes, yes. We'll figure it out later. Like the fact that the Obi-Wan show shut down production just so that way, because they found out, oh yeah, the story that we wrote, I guess, is similar to the dynamic with Mando and Baby Yoda. So now they're rewriting the show and just sent everybody back, and they cut it back from the 8 episodes that they're doing to, I think, 4.
Wow.
And then on top of that,
Really?
there's the whole Lizzie McGuire situation.
Yeah.
Where they filmed 2 episodes and then they fired the showrunner and are redoing the whole series, or at least the whole plan that they have, because apparently it was too adult because the show they ended up having themes of sex and cheating, which on one hand I understand, but on the other hand, the pitch is Lizzie McGuire in the adult world, and
exactly,
this stuff happens.
She's grown older. We all have, guys.
Yeah, it's been primarily for the people who grew up with the show, like my sister did.
And then you have some of the Marvel shows, like I think WandaVision got pushed back, or one of them did. I don't remember which one. One of them's pushed back, and then on top of that, there's the Love, Simon spin-off show, which was apparently going to be a Disney Plus exclusive, but then they apparently decided to court it over to Hulu because apparently it's not family-friendly enough for Disney Plus.
I roll.
Well, of course it isn't.
Yeah, even though, like...
Of course it isn't, I mean, if they say everything isn't, I'm just saying that, like, the Lizzie McGuire thing, if they're going to consider that to not be family-friendly, then of course they're not going to consider the Love, Simon spinoff to be family-friendly.
Is it for any other reason you think, other than the fact that it's about a gay character? Do you think there's any other reason?
I'm saying this, the Love, Simon spinoff isn't about to be the Euphoria of Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It wasn't about to go.
I mean, sorry guys, I didn't mean it that way. I'm just saying that, because they're taking a very myopic view of things right now. And I don't think that I just, they could be doing great things with Disney Plus and they're not.
Honestly, they could be doing the same thing that Quibi is doing by doing like little shorts that are family friendly and, releasing them on the platform and just, giving like this bigger audience for like more family friendly things, but just giving these creators like, hey, just make it PG-13. You can include some shits here, maybe an F-bomb, but keep it light.
Yeah.
They kind of did have like a family friendly show, like with Forky Asks a Question. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was like with Forky from Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
That was kind of...
Which was like a 3-minute thing, right? 3-minute episodes or something like that. Yeah.
But it all comes down to the same thing that I think, which is Disney Plus is a mess, and I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely debate why I still have it, and I might cancel it maybe within the month or so, maybe in the next 2 months, just because the direction they're heading in, unlike Netflix, which although they do a terrible job of advertising their shows, At least they give
Yeah.
the creators freedom. And Hulu may have ads, but you know what? You could tell that like Hulu tries harder in that weird sense, like Castle Rock and all that stuff, like the Stephen King miniseries that they had a long time ago, 11/22/63.
Oh, I need to see that.
Yeah,
They're a little bit more ambitious in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
then
are.
you have Amazon, which is trying to be a little bit more edgy with shows like The Boys and Hunters. I just Disney Plus is so frustrating, and the problem stems more than just the fact that Disney has a monopoly on everything. It's the fact that
did we lose Josh?
they're not using that monopoly to benefit artists, to benefit everybody.
I think we might have lost him.
And
No,
that
I
they're
can hear him just
destroying
fine.
art in the process.
Oh, there you. Okay, I couldn't hear you, Josh, for a couple of seconds there. So
sorry.
Oh no, you're good. All right, so let's see here.
Yeah, that was all I had to say.
Okay. Yeah. Well, no, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and I think that they definitely have room to improve with Disney Plus. I mean, this sounds like This sounds like we just totally bashed Disney.
It sounds like
to crap,
I don't want to bash Disney.
But honestly, though, I mean, Disney Plus has done some very good things as well. Like, we wouldn't have Baby Yoda without it. We wouldn't have The Mandalorian without it. And I wouldn't have been able to watch Flight of the Navigator without it. So, that was cool because I like that movie. Love that movie even. Yeah, Jacob, go ahead.
Actually, one show that I did like on Disney Plus is the Imagineer story. It was like about the history of the Disney parks. It's surprisingly fascinating.
Yeah, that looked cool. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, though. I have to watch that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea for a show, and also the Jeff Goldblum documentary series was good.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And I do like having the entire catalog of Simpsons available, even though it's imperfect.
Understatement of the century.
But, yeah, right. We'll see what they do, and hopefully something creative will happen because of the sort of situation that we're in now. Maybe something good will come of it. Well, Josh, any more final thoughts, or are you good?
That's about it.
All right. And again, guys, I want to apologize if that faux pas earlier, where I was like, it's not family friendly. Of course, it's not because of that. It's just because of like the way that Disney seems to be approaching things right now. It just seems like they have a very specific view of what is family friendly. Is what I meant.
Yeah,
so,
we get it.
But I mean, of course, it's just I don't agree with it, frankly, and I think that they should just let their shows be their shows, and if they're going to advertise it as a Disney Plus exclusive, put it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and just share our social media contacts, and Jacob, let's start with you.
My Facebook is Jacob Crable. That is KREHBIEL. That is KREHBIEL, and I am a member of Renegade Pop Culture. So keep an eye out for any posts I make if I find something in the entertainment news that I find interesting. So join the site and keep an eye on that.
Awesome. Okay, Josh.
Well, if you want to catch up with my ever-growing procrastination in editing The Creative Burnout of David Benioff and D.B. Weiss Part 2, you can follow me at Twitter at JSHLozano. I am terrible at deadlines. You could catch me like ranting a lot there. I don't use it at all, but I do have a PlayStation Plus account, which is Joshua Lozano 64, And as always, you can catch my videos that I do on occasion. Maybe sometimes this year I'll upload another one at YouTube at JoshBoy64. And you can also find me in the Facebook group at Joshua Lozano for Renegade Pop Culture.
Awesome. And yes, we definitely do want to go ahead and encourage everybody to check out renegadepopculture.com. That is our website. So please, please, please do check it out and share it and like our posts on Facebook and everything. We do have the Facebook group, which is Renegade Pop Culture. I'm going to link to that in the show notes as well, which will be on the website. And we are on iTunes also. You can search for Renegade Pop Culture and it'll pop up. I'm trying to get the album art thing to still work, so that's still being a problem for me, but I'm definitely working on that. And then for myself, you can follow me on Twitter. I am at Keona Tang. That's KeonaTang. You can also find me on Facebook under that same name. And then on Instagram, we do have an account called Renegade Pop Culture on Instagram as well. So just want to say thank you for joining us for this 4th episode of the Renegade Pop Culture podcast. Covering the streaming wars. This is kind of our pilot episode for a series on the streaming wars, and we're going to keep up with it, especially now, considering all the crazy stuff that's happening in the world. So we hope you've enjoyed the ride, and I hope you continue to stick with us throughout these trying times. And rest assured, we'll continue to record episodes and share our perspective on the news with you all. And we thank you for all of your support, of course, and promise that this movement is just beginning. So until next time, Renegades, this is Keona and Jacob and Josh, and we're all signing off.
See ya.